Hi guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. So today I'm going to go through my graphic novel wrap up for the month of May. In the month of May I read 10 graphic novels, and so I thought that I would kind of wrap them up separately from my other May wrap up and just kind of let you know what I thought of the graphic novels that I read this month. So stick around and we'll get into it. The first graphic novel that I read this month is Smile by Raina Telgemeier. This is a graphic memoir from Raina Telgemeier, and it just covers her experience with braces during her middle school and high school years. She had like a 4-year bout with braces where she ended up having a pretty severe injury to her mouth that caused her to have all sorts of procedures done and all sorts of things going on with orthodontics and whatnot. And so this just kind of goes through her experience with that and how difficult it was for her with bullying and just kind of sticking up for herself and accepting herself for, and realizing that she's more than just her teeth. But it was really, really well done. I really, really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. Ooh, sorry about that. I gave it 4 stars, and I just thought it was great. It is a middle grade novel, but the illustrations are really simple and fun. But yeah, so that was my first one. After that, I read the entire. Somebody just started mowing their lawn. Fantastic. We're just gonna go. We're gonna go with it. So I read the entire Babysitter's Club graphic adaptations. So currently there are 6 of them done. The first 4 are done by Raina Telgemeier, and then the last 2 are done by Gail Galligan. The first 4 of these, the first 4 I loved. So, whoa, I dropped them all. So we have Christy's Great Idea. Ooh, glare. This video is just shaping up to be fantastic, huh? All right, Christy's Great Idea. And then we have The Truth About Stacy, and Marianne Saves the Day, and Claudia and Mean Janine. So the ones that were done, like I said, by Raina Telgemeier were fantastic. Her writing, or not writing, but her writing, but also her illustrations were just on point for the Babysitter's Club and making it more relatable to, the girls today. And I thought that she did a fantastic job. I read Babysitter's Club growing up, and I loved them. And so I just thought these were absolutely wonderful. 4 stars for all of these 4. And then we get into when kind of the reins passed from Raina Telgemeier to Gail Galligan. It kind of went downhill, in my opinion. These were not as well done. So these ones, we have Dawn and the Impossible 3 and Christy's Big Day. In these ones, the reason I say they kind of went downhill is because the illustrations are just a little bit too severe. Like you can notice here that the facial expressions, you can't tell if they're happy or mad half the time. And they just look too intense for what it is. They don't follow, I don't know, it's just not the same. And I really wish that Raina Telgemeier was still doing them, honestly. The writing is not as good. You can't follow the storyline quite as well. I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably still continue reading them because, Babysitter's Club and nostalgia and all that, but I'm not a huge fan of once the author changed, they were not the best. If anybody else has read those, I'd be curious to see if you feel the same way or not, because I was really disappointed. So after that, I read Tom's Midnight Garden. I have referenced this in numerous other videos, and so I'm not going to say anything more about it because it's not that great of a book, and it does not deserve, in my opinion, as much screen time as it has gotten on my channel. So Tom's Midnight Garden is by Edith. It is a graphic adaptation of the children's classic by Philippa Pierce. And it is about a little boy who finds a secret garden that appears at midnight, magical garden, that he goes to every night. And you can watch a couple of my other videos if you want to see the rest of my thoughts on that, because yeah, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But that was 3 stars. It was fine. Then I read The Sculptor by Scott McCloud. This was a recommendation from Jesse the Reader. And he did the Do I Have That Book challenge, where you kind of go through your bookshelves and find books. And one of the challenges was, do you have a graphic novel? And he pulled this and said, if you haven't read this, go get it from your library. So I did, because, you know. This is an adult graphic novel. It is about a sculptor who makes a deal with death that he can make anything he wants he can sculpt anything he wants, but he only has a certain amount of days to do it, and then at the end of that time, he dies. So he can make all the art he wants, but you know, he basically gives his life for his art. And that's kind of what the story follows, is just the fact that artists a lot of time give their life for their art. It's kind of done in a black and white and blue hue art style, but I really loved this one. I thought that it was really impactful. I thought that the storytelling was done very, very well. It's a pretty thick, for graphic novel, it's pretty thick. And I thought this was fantastic. I gave this one 5 stars, and I haven't been giving hardly anything 5 stars this year. So if that tells you anything, if you're into graphic novels and you have not read this, go read it. I'd love to hear what you think. So that was that one. And then after that, I read Something New, Tales of a Makeshift Bride by Lucy Nisley. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She's the author who did Relish, which was kind of popular. And she also has at least one other graphic novel out that's about her pregnancy. Sorry again, kids going in and out of the house. So when I read the synopsis for this, it's just kind of, you know, this is my story of how I put together my wedding. And that's kind of what it was about. I mean, that's what it was about, but there was a lot of commentary in this on how she was not a traditional bride. She was not a traditional bride, and how she thought that weddings were kind of a societal thing that was only for heterosexual religious people, and how she was bisexual, or is bisexual, and, you know, her and her husband are both atheists, and so do they really have a place to have a wedding? Do they really agree with having a wedding? And how can we make this wedding our own and not participate in what society thinks a wedding is? And so, I don't know. I did not think that it translated very well. It was definitely not what I was expecting. I almost DNF'd this multiple times and just kind of stuck through it because I don't even know why. I gave it 2 stars. It was definitely not my cup of tea. She talked about how she was not a traditional bride and how she was going to make this her own, but in doing that, she became a traditional bride and kind of became a bridezilla in a certain sense of things, and it just, I don't know, this was just not what I was expecting it to be at all. When I saw this on the bookshelf at the library, and it was with the graphic novels and everything else kind of sci-fi and comics and those sorts of things, fantasy. And then I saw this and I was like, ooh, that looks like fun. That looks like girly and fun. And it was basically, like I said, just a commentary on how weddings are so not, or they're just only for heterosexual religious people, and that's it. And you know, I don't know. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But anyway, so that was that one. That was the last book the last graphic novel that I read this month. If you have read any of these, I would love to know what you thought of them. If you haven't read them, there's a few that are a lot of fun. Like, definitely pick up The Sculptor, or, you know, if you're nostalgic for the Babysitter's Club, go grab those. Those were definitely a lot of fun to read, and they're really, really fast because they're middle grade. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe, and until next time, see ya!